What's up, listener? Thanks for pressing play on this episode of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. We've got more Justice League news as we take a look at the opening weekend box office numbers, more details of scenes that were changed and cut, and what this means for the DCEU moving forward. Also, Jude Law joins the MCU. Fox also talked to Sony about buying them up, and the first teaser for the Deadpool sequel is out. Plus, we return to our Game of Thrones first-time watch-through. Hey, it's new to me, with a review of Season 6. All that and listener emails in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Friday, November 24th, 2017.
Check one. All right. This is ruling fans out there. Let's give it up. We jocking, we nerding. We funny, disturbing. We jocking, we nerding. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We jocking, we nerding. We funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. We jocking, we nerding. We spoiler alert.
Oh, what's up, listener? Welcome back to another episode of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Jock and Nerd, the show that fulfills your weekly US Day requirements for macro geek nutrients as we give you comic book, superhero, TV, and movie-related news and reviews every week. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And he's the Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
What's U.S. Day?
The United States Department of Agriculture.
USDA.
Yeah, that's what I said. USDA. Did I say US Day?
No, you said US Day.
I said US Charlie.
USD's nuts.
US, you like these? How's everybody doing? Did you have a good Thanksgiving for our American listeners?
I had turkey.
I had some turkey. Anthony?
Yeah, I did the turkey. I get home at 6:30 in the morning. I have to be at my parents' house by 1. Go to my parents' house, eat immediately, fall asleep, and then wake up and then eat again, sort of deal.
Wow, that sounds good.
That was like perfect.
Typical American gluttony,
Except I like Black Wednesday more than I like Thanksgiving.
There's a Black Wednesday.
Yeah, that's when you black out on Wednesday.
Ah, yes. That's
because everyone's off.
I remember being in college. Traditionally, that was a huge drinking night.
That's a big one. That's one of those where like the cops are looking for you.
That's where hookups
Dewey's
happen.
Everywhere.
People throw up on each other, and everyone's just having a good time. All right. Well, look, it's very America-centric of us to talk about Thanksgiving because it wasn't Thanksgiving everywhere. It's just, and it's all.
Fuck the rest of the world. Close our borders. Let's go.
All right. Well, there you go. Oh, shit. Lock it down, America.
Yeah.
Trump's America. Thanksgiving's all kind of bullshit anyway.
It's catching on. It's catching on.
We're making it great.
MAGA. Blech. Okay. Look, if you are a new listener to the show, here's what's going to happen. This is the show that we like to cover geek news and review fun, awesome geek content. And we've been doing a ton of reviews back to back to back, so we haven't really touched on the news a lot. So we have a huge news dump. We're going to take a news dump all over your ear holes, and you're going to enjoy it. Lots of stuff to talk about. Also, in this episode, we continue our journey first time through Game of Thrones. I know you guys have been digging our Game of Thrones reviews, and we're going at my pace. I'm caught up to season 6, so we will discuss season 6 of Game of Thrones, and I got a bunch of awesome listener emails, thoughts about Justice League from you, the listener, to share at the end of the show. Check out the last show for our Justice League review. This movie continues to be, it's not as divisive as Batman vs. Superman, but it's just as fascinating. People's reactions to it all across the board.
For different reasons.
Yes, and it's hard to argue with any of them because there's people who...
Let me say something about Justice League. Yeah. I've been thinking about this movie a lot.
Yeah, right?
It's really just a sad movie. It's just
a victim. The movie is a victim.
Shut up! It's not a victim.
No?
Fuck you.
Why is it sad? Why is it sad? That's
because
why I think it's sad.
This is Justice League.
Yes.
They spent $300 million, and we got the most blah superhero movie that we could have gotten.
Yeah.
It was just the safest movie ever.
Well, look, I have a lot of news. We'll talk about the box office and things that were going to happen that were changed. A lot of great news.
You only get one chance at a Justice League movie.
You really do, and they may have screwed the pooch for a while because you're not going to forget. You're going to forget this one, but you're not going to forget. But you're not going to forget that it was forgettable. it's just a weird movie.
I felt like it had potential, but they totally screwed the pooch on it.
Yeah. Look, before we get to the news, I got some big news about our show. You guys know this little app called Spotify? Anybody use the Spotify?
I use it. I pay for it.
You actually pay for it, huh?
I pay for it.
Yeah, I have a free account. Ruggs, you ever use the Spotify?
Is that like Pandora?
It's similar.
No, it's more like No, it's not like Pandora, Imran. It's Pandora chooses the music for you. Spotify is you could choose the music.
Pandora now is copying Spotify, though. If you pay for Pandora, you can play whatever you want.
Oh, fuck them.
Yeah, they pretty much copied Spotify.
It's like your Apple
But
Music.
why do you have to pay for it?
You pay for it so you can actually download the music.
Oh,
if you do the free version, you don't get to download any music.
And pretty much everything is on there. They recently added podcasts, and guess what, listener? If you are a Spotify user and you've had to switch to listen to us, the Jock and Nerd podcast, well, guess what? You don't have to switch anymore. Oh, shit. Because we are now on Spotify. Jock and Nerd. Officially on Spotify, and even for the free account, if you search Jock and Nerd podcast, it will show up. So if you're in Spotify a lot, which I just looked up to the numbers, Spotify has more than 60 million paid subscribers and 140 million active users. Oh, shit. That should give us some numbers, you would think with that many people.
I hope so.
I don't know if people know Spotify is a place that you can listen to podcasts, so I think...
Yeah, that's not commonly what I hear.
No, that's going to take some education and some time. And I don't know if Spotify cares to inform their users and push me like, hey, there's podcasts, or they're like, here's some extra free shit that you can listen to here also. But I just wanted to say we're on Spotify. It's very exciting. But you can also find the show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, Player FM, iHeartRadio, TuneIn.
Jeez.
We're everywhere we need to be. There's no excuse to not listen. And listener, check out the website for this show. Follow along in the show notes, jockandnerd.com/196. Let's get to the news, everybody.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Look, if you want to get in touch with the show, we have lots of ways to contact us. Visit jockandnerd.com/contact for our Twitter, our Facebook page, our email, SpeakPipe, and our Facebook group. I want to welcome new members to the Facebook group: Tyler Turner, Mustafa Ali, and Grant Cross. Look at this, all across the board. We got white names, we got non-white names. I love how that works out.
We got white names and we got non-white names.
We got like the whitest of white names and like the brownest of brown names. Mustafa Ali, I believe you may be from Pakistan. We may be distant relatives. Sounds like a very Pakistani name. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay, before we get to the actual news, I got to find out. Punisher, last week, same week Justice League came out, dropped on the Netflix 13 episodes with the John Bernthal. Where's everybody at? Can we get a little Punisher watch update?
I think I'm on episode 8.
Okay, very good.
0.
Wow, Anthony. Holy shit. Wow.
Who would have thought the Jock would have been caught up?
I have one episode left.
Oh no, I'm saying I haven't watched it.
Yes, he has. Okay. No, he has 0 episodes watched.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
how many did you get, Imran?
Well, I have one more left.
Oh
wow,
one more left,
life, bro.
And we will review the show next week. I don't want to say anything yet since Anthony hasn't seen it. We will wait next week though. You think you can get it in by next week? What do you think?
Are we reviewing it next week?
I would like to, while I remember the fucking thing.
Well, shit. Then I guess I'll have to watch it.
There we go. Wow, no urgency to watch The Punisher, Anthony. Why is that?
It's not the urgency. It's the once I want to be fully invested before I start.
I see.
And if I start the first episode and it's late, I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's not how you want to do it.
No, that's correct. But you have said in the past how you kind of cooled off on these Marvel Netflix shows.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't know, Ruggs. Do you think this will turn him around?
No.
Oh, there we go. Shit. Okay.
I've heard good things, but all right.
Yeah, I'm really curious to think what you guys think. Hopefully we can...
I think that he'll... Anthony?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I think that he might be pleasantly surprised, but I don't think it's going to change his feeling about the whole
He's going to walk away meh, you think?
I think he'll just walk away like, yeah, okay. I
Walk
saw the
away with
Punisher.
my dick in my hand.
You're not gonna be like, you're not gonna have the same reaction as Iron Fist, where you're gonna be pissed at like a million things.
That's true. But will it get his Filipinas hard? Will it give him
the Filipinos.
Yeah, callback. Remember Filipinas?
Yeah. I don't know.
All right,
I think he might have a semi-hard
a
Filipino.
semi Filipinas. All right, well, look, we'll watch it, we'll review it, we'll find out. I'm gonna reserve my judgment. I may do a Patreon thing once I finish the show, just so I remember what I thought about it right afterwards. So sign up for a Patreon. You'll get the instant reaction. Let's talk about Justice League some more, because when we did the review, it was the day the movie officially came out, even though movies come out a day before they officially come out, so they should just change the date. But there was no box office numbers to speak of. Well, we have opening weekend box office numbers. Now, if you've been paying attention, you've probably seen that this thing made 94 million, actually around 94 million.
Oh, shit.
Domestic opening weekend, making
That sounds like a lot of money.
It does sound like a lot of money. However, if you think of the big scheme of things,
No, it isn't.
it isn't. It comes in as the lowest opening of all 5 DCEU movies yet.
That's unbelievable.
Is
And
that not surprising?
It was 90, a little less than 94.
Yeah, it's like
and
93
The projection
change.
for that weekend was 110. So
110 to 120.
lowest box office opening ever.
In
for the
relation,
DCEU.
working backwards, Wonder Woman 103 million, Suicide Squad 133, BVS a whopping 166, and Man of Steel beat this movie at 116. A movie that has
Now,
everybody in it.
what is the order that they came out in?
Oh man, he read it.
I read it.
backwards,
That's
so-
reverse order. I just read it. So Man of
Man of
Steel
Steel came out
116.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BVS, you get 166, super high. It peaks there.
Yes.
It comes down at Suicide Squad 133, continues to come down Wonder Woman 103, and now 93.
So that's the BVS effect.
It's a trickle down
I would
theory.
say so.
However,
Yeah.
Wonder
I would
Woman.
also be the guy. I there was a little bit of arguing on the Facebook about the critics don't matter.
Do you think,
it's still gonna make a shit ton of money?
Where's the word of
Oh,
mouth on
wait,
this one?
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
That's a good point.
The buzz is not positive
The buzz,
either.
it does not help.
It wasn't positive.
No.
When the critic reviews came out, it wasn't positive. The fact that there was that embargo wasn't positive. And you had the stink of Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad.
And it only leaves a very small few percentage of moviegoers actually excited to see this movie.
It's just so weird.
But now Wonder Woman being 103, it manages to have legs and has the highest domestic gross out of all the movies. So
yeah, this isn't going to happen.
not so currently it's
Coco beat it
Coco beat it this weekend
on Thursday.
Yeah, so it's probably not going to stay number one this weekend.
No.
Total with the foreign gross, it made 315 worldwide. Now, so look, let's just start. I want to ask you this one question. You're Warner Brothers. This is the worst box office for one of these movies yet. We have Aquaman plans, Shazam, all these fucking 20 other movies. What do you do now? What do you think they're thinking?
What do you think I think?
Yes.
They're in full panic. Last week you said that it doesn't matter. They don't care. Imran, you were so wrong about that they don't care.
I was quoting a Forbes article. That guy, man,
That they don't care. That
Yeah.
they're gonna lose money on this movie. On the movie that's supposed to be
I
the
don't know why you
flagship
said that,
movie.
Imran. I don't mean to pile on, but that was a really dumb thing for that guy in Forbes to say.
well,
Yeah, whoever you were quoting, because the reason they made this movie is they were like to their shareholders, hey, we got an answer for Avengers. It's going to be Justice League, and we're going to make just as much money. And now they're the lowest opening domestically. That's terrible.
If I was running Warner Brothers,
Yes, what do you do now?
well, obviously, the first thing I would do is go into money-saving mode.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, we got to now string up these budgets
Cut your
here
losses.
and try and like not the whole entire thing. It's like if you're spending all of this money and not getting anything back, that's not good. So if you can make your budgets a little smaller and your overhead a little smaller, you'll make incremental money back. It won't be a huge windfall, but if you do the metrics, you're going to have X amount of people come out to see these movies. So if you could somehow cover your losses and you can make that 100 million back.
On the next one.
Yeah, think about Deadpool. It cost nothing, right?
Yeah.
But it made a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to make like Batman versus Superman kind of money or Wonder Woman kind of money. It just has to make enough to cover its budget and bring back some money back in.
So again, Forbes has broken down not only that it is only made $94 million, that it may cost Warner Brothers around $100 million. What's weird is on the Box Office Mojo page, there still isn't a budget for the movie. There's no actual
they're
budget
embarrassed
number. Yes, so
how much they spent on this.
This one from Screen Rant. It says Forbes has broken down the numbers in an effort to gauge what the movie's total gross will be. Justice League's overall budget ballooned to reportedly $300 million due to reshoots, with an additional $150 million for its marketing. That's a total of $450 million spent on the movie, in addition to the global home entertainment costs, $60 million, Talent Guild residuals, $20 million, interest expense, another $20 million, and finally talent costs to cover the cast, crew, producers, $50 million. Final cost around $600 million. Forbes has made an educated guess based on the current box office trajectory of the movie, with the domestic haul possibly ending up at $235 million. Internationally, Justice League could pocket as much as $400 million. That will give the film $635 million in earnings worldwide. Roughly $545 million would end up in WB's bank account. Should that be the case, that would result in at least $55 million loss before taking into account factors like overhead costs, the amount of time it takes for the film to earn revenue, and other things that could be up to $100 million loss. So this movie...
Ooh.
It's going to be hard to make it in the black.
I would make
any way you cut it.
I would make a $90 million Batman movie, because you would get a shitload of people to show up for Batman.
Yes.
And you could just make it a kung fu movie. It doesn't have to have super big effects or anything. It could just be Batman beating the shit out of people in a cool,
That's a great idea.
ways.
Deadpool was like $68
or
million.
Nightwing.
Yeah.
Throwing him in there too. Why not? Or throw Robin in there.
I think you're right. You got to keep the cost down, and it's the only way you're going to.
You don't think that they will continue making?
That's my
this
other
universe?
question. How much are they going to
Other than
scrap?
Wonder Woman, what
If
is
they
really
were smart,
going?
yeah. they
Aquaman is
could.
coming out, dude. Aquaman, they're not
is
going to
gonna
scratch
come out.
that. And
No,
They're doing it. They're going about it the wrong way.
yeah, they started
They're-
on Shazam like production, and Wonder Woman 2 is definitely going to come out.
They got to do Wonder Woman too.
No, they're doing Wonder Woman too. That's
That's the only thing that's got legs. So
The other thing
They
is,
gotta do
before Aquaman comes out, there's 7 Marvel character movies between Disney
they're
and Fox
spending
and
too
Sony
much
that will be
time
out.
with bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what. And say whatever you want. The whole reason the movie costs so much is because WB doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're overspending. They're shooting too much. They're reshooting things too much. They're just they're not. They could have solved the Superman mustache problem by having a bearded Superman. They could have done that. I would have saved them like $25 million. Like they're just not. They're throwing money at these problems that cost nothing. Like a script doesn't cost them anywhere near what effects cost.
Start with a good script.
I think they also, as Wonder Woman proved, if you can just make a good movie, even if like the Wonder Woman's opening weekend wasn't bananas,
but it had
so much legs.
Yeah.
Like they got to start making, like really got to invest in making a good movie and stop looking over at Marvel and being like, we need to get out as many movies as they're getting out.
When you see what happens when you make a good movie, people tell other people, and then more people come to see the movie, as opposed to the opposite effect. I gotta say, I kind of feel sorry for the Zack Snyders, because look, we fucking bust his balls all the time. The guy went through a tragedy. He clearly had a vision for this. This is obviously this Warner Brothers studio just fucking things up. And as a creator, as a storyteller, to have a project and see it completely hacked up and
wait.
something end up
Warner
on screen that
Brothers
wasn't
fucking
yours.
it up.
Yeah.
He fucked up BVS.
But as a money standpoint, Anthony, like just think about this. Warner Brothers puts out Zack Snyder's original vision without spending all the extra money reshooting it and fixing Superman's mustache. They would have made money on
That's
this.
less of a gamble than throwing all that money for this
You're
bullshit.
talking about another $100 million thrown into this movie. That was a stupid risk that they took.
They're as you said, they
and
don't know
hate
what they're
this
doing.
movie too. They would have hated both movies.
Yeah.
They really don't. They're so reactionary.
Yes.
I watched Movie Bob do a breakdown of BVS 1 and 2, and he went into kind of the history.
Yeah.
So basically, they rushed all of this because they were investing money in Superman films that weren't being made and were losing money without having any films come out, because there was that Superman Flyby movie. There was that Superman movie with Nicolas Cage that was supposed to be in. They were
losing
investing money in the movies that weren't coming out.
So they're like,
they were in a panic.
Yeah. That's interesting.
They were looking at Marvel and they're like, guys, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, why-
We're not even making movies and we're
I
losing
know.
money.
You know, that Birth Movies Death review he sent over was really good too. How he mentioned that this movie is just a response to a response to a response.
Yeah,
like all
they're
the
just
movies
reacting.
are responses to responses when you should just craft a good single story and believe in it and have confidence in it. There were deleted scenes briefly on the internet, guys. Did you get to see these? They've been pulled.
I didn't see them, but I heard about them.
Did you read about them?
I was on Reddit trying to find them, but I was already way too late.
Yeah, they all got pulled
me too.
very quickly. And I mean, like we imagined, it's a lot of the Cyborg stuff. It's a lot more Aquaman stuff. It's probably stuff with Volko.
Oh, I forgot that what's his face was in this.
Remember in the trailer?
What's his name? What's the actor's name?
Willem Dafoe.
William Dafoe.
Remember in the trailer, he's in the Aquaman's in the water and he swims up and there's a dude like in a suit, like a king with a trident sitting there. Like
No, I don't remember
that
that
was
at all.
that was in the thing. That was not in the movie. I don't know who that was. Another story I got. The original post-credits scene was a lot different. This is kind of cool. A visual effects artist named LDN Film who worked on Wonder Woman took to Reddit to answer some questions, and he had worked on this after-credit scene that evidently featured some Green Lanterns. The original after-credit scene that was shot in principal photography was Bruce being woken in the night in his lake house by a green light and being visited by Tomare and Kilowog.
Geek boner.
It was cut fairly early on during
Well, this was supposed to be, remember, a 2-part movie.
Yes.
And I think I saw some speculation, and it's just pure speculation, but I kind of agree with it, that the end of this movie was supposed to be kind of a, oh my God, Superman's gone bad sort of thing.
Yes.
And then that would have ran into part 2. And they would then have Darkseid show up, and Green Lanterns are showing up, and like all
They
that.
gave us lanterns, but then they died, but it was really cool to see the ring fly off.
But the thing is, it's like, it's cool to see, but we're getting teases for movies that we don't even know if are ever going to come out.
You know what else doesn't make any sense, really? Like, why did they why they leave the mother boxes on Earth if they were working with lanterns? Like, why don't just give one to the lanterns out in space? Like, you're putting them all in the same fucking planet when you got these alien fucking cops working for you. And why give it to Man? Man is not good at holding anything.
These are all true statements.
The original.
I like how hard you're thinking about that plot point right there.
Yeah, you know, another thing I will say, I have to take back last episode, Ruggs, you were like, would you see this again? And I was like, there's no reason to see this again. I kind of want to see the movie again now. The more I think about it, the more I just kind of want to see it again after the shock of seeing it the first time. I just, I kind of want to see.
I don't think it's an unwatchable mess.
No.
I just think that you wonder why they spent all of this money just to make it not good, not really good.
Yeah.
And did all this stuff, cut all of this stuff out and do this. They like all of the things that they did to try and make more money, like making it shorter and, so it's 2 hours and they can run it more times and then, making it more friendly for everybody and safer.
Yeah.
Like none of that stuff, made the movie any better in the eyes of anyone.
No.
So they were going to get this $94 million no matter what they spent.
Yeah, and they really could have saved some money had they just.
I'm very curious to see. I don't think we'll ever get it.
No, we'll get.
But I'm very curious to see what that Frankenstein or that monstrosity of Zack Snyder's unwatchable version of it was.
Okay, so here's the thing. Everyone's heard already of this petition for Snyder's cut, which is hilarious because there's always petitions to have him thrown off movies and to have him put back on movies, the same movies he was thrown off. The problem, so this article from Collider, it says the petition operates under the assumption that Snyder's version is finished. In the petition, the author writes about discarding Junkie XL's score in favor of one by Danny Elfman. Snyder's version wasn't finished. So for us to get Zack Snyder's version, Warner Brothers would have to put more money into it to fucking finish the movie.
Well, also,
that's
when you
not
look
going
at
to happen.
You look at like Suicide Squad or Batman vs Superman, those extended cuts, and they're versions of the movie where like basically the blanks are kind of filled in.
Yeah.
An extended cut of Justice League would be a different movie.
Well,
I don't think Warner Brothers is going to undercut their own movie.
But they do say, I saw another article where an extended cut may be possible because they would add in shit to the existing movie. But this whole other 3-hour
You're not
cut,
a director's cut? Yeah. No.
Yeah, that can't happen because they would have to pay to finish the movie.
I think that the biggest problem that people have and the reason why this outcry for Zack Snyder's assembly to be, put out is because all of the trailers, all of the advertising for this movie had all of these scenes
Yep.
that we were expecting to see.
Yep.
Now, think about it. Like, most of the scenes that we saw in the trailer are not in the movie.
Yes, we were sold a fake movie, for fuck's sake.
So
shit.
it's kind of weird that, like, I mean, they're still using that footage to advertise this movie, knowing full well that none of that shit is
Did
in
you
the
see
movie.
how they've added Superman to all the posters and the banners?
Yeah, now they have.
Yeah, now they have.
Going back to how crazy.
My friend always
Yeah,
jokes
yeah.
like he's like, "Oh wait, Henry Cavill's in this movie? I had no idea he was going to be in this."
Right? Going back to how fucked up the production was, Danny Elfman said he came on so late in the production. He goes, I got the call from Joss very last second. I got the call and it was, you have to decide now and then go to work tomorrow. He was so late that he scored storyboards in place of actual film. He's like, it was like scoring an animated movie. He's like, the movie that came out is the movie I scored. It was just in very rough form. That's how late the shit was.
A lot of people on the internet that I kind of respect, have really criticized his score.
Yeah, a lot of people said that it's not, that it's nothing. It's like, again,
Like, that
recycled
he,
shit.
Like, he kind of threw away some of the like the scores that they established for the characters in previous films.
Yep.
And made it more of this whimsical kind of thing.
Made it Danny Elfman. He made it Danny Elfman, which is
I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the score, but a lot of people have really criticized
I
it.
did love hearing the Batman theme, but and you heard the Wonder Woman theme like once, like briefly. Like in the beginning, and then that was kind of it. The opening of the movie. Remember that scene with the criminal where he bakes
the Joss Whedon thing?
Yeah. So the guy who played that, his name is Holt McElhenney. He's on Mindhunter. He said that opening sequence was way more comedic until Warner Brothers decided otherwise. He says, I love Joss Whedon. My scene with Batman was originally conceived as a comedic scene. That's how Joss wrote it, and that's how he shot it. I thought it came out great, but the studio felt it would be a mistake to open the film with a completely comedic scene, so it was re-edited a little bit. I was disappointed, but when I got home to New York, I found a bottle of my favorite champagne and a note from Joss that said, 2 battles lost. Gratefully, Joss. I can't tell you how much it meant to me that he took the time to write me. Joss Whedon is a class act. I had the letter framed. So, again, you got Joss Whedon writing some comedy bits, and they're still resisting with the guy they picked. I don't know. I guess it would have been weird to have like a total funny bit to open the movie.
Well, I thought you were referring to the fact that he puts "I tried" out there.
Yes, that's the other thing. Is this a dig? During the credits, when you see Chris Terrio and Joss Whedon's screenwriting credit, it's over the image of that homeless man holding up a sign that says "I tried." And also, Whedon hasn't said shit about the movie, and Zack Snyder has not even seen the movie yet.
That's weird.
I find
weird.
all this very strange.
I tried things kind of a funny coincidence, but maybe there's something to it. The Whedon not talking about it is really strange.
All he did, and he got a lot of flack for, is he liked a tweet from someone that was criticizing the CGI and Steppenwolf, and he liked it and then like unliked
weird
it.
as fuck too.
And he got a lot of flack, but he hasn't said anything.
I mean, maybe he's like, I don't want to take away from the fact that this is Snyder's movie, even though he kind of did a totally different version of it.
But this has got to make Snyder feel good that there's a little petition going on to get him get his cut out.
He's probably like, see, you need me. See what happens?
I mean, until we see the cut.
See what the other disaster is. Also, James Wan has said Aquaman will not use air bubbles to talk in the Aquaman movie, which is fascinating. It's kind of a lazy solution to the problem. And Ruggs, I think you were right. That's only Mira's abilities to do that. So she has to be around whenever people want to talk underwater.
She looked good.
She did look good. I wish we saw that shot of her.
She was hot
coming out of the water. She did. She looks great in the costume. Remember there's that picture of her coming out of the water, actually? That wasn't in the movie.
Fuck it.
But James Wan simply tweeted, fret not, no air bubbles for dialogue in my underwater world, which, how the fuck, what are you going to do? I'm really, really curious. I don't know what else you could do. I hope it's not like the fucking telekinetic mind reading shit. That's also, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do. Batman rumors.
I think they're going to make weird, like, clicks, and then they're gonna have subtitles
like dolphins, and then you'll read.
Yeah,
I mean, you could do it like it's an alien language, and then you just read the subtitles.
You're just gonna hear. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but it'll look silly if there's just bubbles coming out of their mouth. Batman rumors. Rumors that Jake Gyllenhaal is all but confirmed to headline the solo Batman movie.
Really?
Yeah, from according to Elle Fanboy, Affleck is out. Elle Fanboy.
I don't believe it.
Affleck is out, and Gyllenhaal looks all but confirmed to be his replacement.
Who the hell is Elle Fanboy?
It is. That's probably one of those guys that came out of.
Is that Elle Fanning's fanboy?
This is like Elle Fanboy. This is like
Fanboy.
This is like a fucking WordPress blog.
I don't know
WordPress.
Elle Fanboy.
I don't know who Elle Fanboy is.
Oh, he's daily contributor to Latino Review.
Oh, he's one of the Latino Review.
I don't know about this.
He says the
maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Gyllenhaal. What do you think of Gyllenhaal?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
There was another story out saying that the movie won't be like a reboot. It will be the 20-year-old veteran, this same Batman after Justice League that's going to be in the movie.
And you're going to cast Gyllenhaal?
Well,
the 20-year-old?
Yeah, Gyllenhaal is almost. I think he's like 40 now, so he could play a guy who's been fighting crime since he was 20. I don't know.
I guess
he won't be.
Yeah, but he's just not been. He's a different guy.
Yeah, he's a totally different guy.
Hey, this is the Batman universe. That's what happens.
I guess so.
I think he won't look so bloated looking as Affleck did in the Batman a little bit.
My friend Erwin was like,
bloated.
a lot of those reshooted scenes, he was like, I couldn't stop looking at how fat his face was in the costume.
He looked kind of uncomfortable, confined in that costume. Like, did he let himself go and didn't know there was going to be reshoots? What happened?
Well, of course. I mean, Cavill grew a mustache and signed on to another movie.
They didn't think they were going to, because he's like,
they didn't think they were doing.
It's like, I
these
shot
reshoots.
all my Superman shit. I'm going to grow a fucking mustache. Jesus, Henry Cavill. Speaking of him, he is contracted for one more movie. So they got to shove him in somewhere. I think he deserves a sequel. I don't know what. Now that he's all like positive and Boy Scouty, maybe we can get a Man of Steel 2 sequel.
Well, they can look. One thing about Justice League, the way that they did it, and they edited out the Snyderverse version, is that at least he's in a position where you can make a good Superman movie now.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we had to go through this whole deconstructing and undoing of the deconstructing. Yes.
The suit is looks like shit, the way that they brighten the colors and stuff.
At least it's brighter though.
Yeah, but they gotta the way that the shading, it looks like these geometric shapes that are highlights that look. It looks like he's wearing a weird body armor. It doesn't look as
you got to you got to bring in a red belt or so. You got to break up that blue in the middle.
He doesn't have I forget what it looks like. He doesn't have a belt.
He has nothing. It's just like he's wearing this he's wearing like a
one piece.
Yeah, like a full body swimsuit.
You know, it's surprising that some of these costumes are so shitty because their costumes have always been top notch. That dude Michael Wilkinson
it's just the way that they did it. Whatever they did to blow out his suit, whatever the digitally they did to blow his
okay, the brushing on top. Yeah.
Movie Bob's it looks like they tried to these suits look like they tried to recreate Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Ah, shit. Yeah. I mean, the whole movie is so color corrected to death that you don't know what the fuck color anything is.
Very bad.
He brings. I keep quoting Movie Bob because I saw it. I just watched it, but he was good. Or no, it wasn't Movie Bob. It was this guy named Houston Productions. And he was like, the thing is they filmed this with these sets in mind with Snyder's color scheme in mind. So all these suits are supposed to bounce off of Snyder's color scheme,
which is
and then they color corrected the shit out of it to make it more bright. But the sets and the suits weren't made to be that. You know, they weren't supposed to be colored out like this.
So they just end up
they stick out even more.
Yeah. It's very good. Movie Bob fucking hated this movie, and it's a glorious review. I highly recommend you watch.
He doesn't hate it as much as BVS.
He really hated that.
He's currently in the midst of over 4.5 hours of hating.
He's doing a Dan Carlin hardcore history version of BVS. It's like
he just
6
put out
hours
part 2, and he's got part 3 coming later.
That's like 6 hours of hate for BVS. That is fantastic.
It's great.
Last thing about Justice League, this Joss Whedon rumor started circulating all of a sudden.
Yeah, that was weird.
That he got fired for Batgirl for alleged cheating on his wife for sexual harassment, but I think that's not true because then right away reports came out Joss Whedon is still involved and he's writing it, and I don't know what to believe anymore.
So I only looked at the title. I didn't read the article.
Yeah.
So the first thing I read was cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that makes you not a great human, but does that you deserve to be fired for cheating on your wife?
So this is from Super Bro Movies, who later removed.
Oh, this sounds very incredible.
The article doesn't exist. They already removed the link. Whedon had been fired a few months ago after his ex-wife had revealed that Whedon had been having several affairs during their marriage, calling him a hypocrite preaching feminist ideals. It said that Warner Brothers didn't want this sort of negativity, but that's not fireable, really.
I mean, I guess they can fire you for anything. But,
well, that's true. No, but that sounds like
cheating on your wife isn't a crime.
It sounds
is it anti-feminist to cheat on your wife?
What does that mean? Is it anti-feminist?
This
I don't know.
This sounds like
We need a feminist on the
This
show.
sounds like a
Yeah.
hardcore Zack Snyder fan trying to just discredit someone.
Yeah.
That petition apparently has like over 100,000 signatures now. I don't know if
I'm
it's going
glad people are signing something that means nothing.
Yes. How about you sign like an
How
actual
about you
nuclear
sign
arms,
something for
yeah.
get involved in the government or something. Like sign something that's actually going to change something.
Global
Yeah.
warming, climate change. Sign those petitions.
Look at what
you
your like
assholes.
local representatives are voting for and sign
Yes.
something that
Look,
against that.
Meanwhile, over Thanksgiving, they're trying to repeal net neutrality, you fucking assholes. That's going to ruin everything for everyone who enjoys anything on the internet, and they're trying to do it where no one's paying attention. It's very shady.
I'm busy having some turkey.
Yeah,
Damn
fuck
it.
the turkey. They're going to make you pay 3 times for your internet and throttle everything and have to buy different services. Ugh. So that's false. So I don't know. He's still working on Batgirl. I was looking forward to a Joss Whedon Batgirl, but if it's just one vision, just from him, and not having to, combine.
Are we still on this news of Justice
No,
League?
we're
Or are we
done.
done?
We're
with it?
done. Let's check in. Let's see. I want to see how much Thor Ragnarok has made. $752
Oh shit.
worldwide. $260.
$52.
$752. That's it. And 60 cents. No,
Jesus
752 million. 260 million domestic.
21-day total compared to Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
Thor: The Dark World 175.
Wow.
Thor Ragnarok 260. So they're happy.
Thor Ragnarok is doing very
Crushing it.
well. I found out now, we've been waiting for this Infinity War trailer, which is weird because for the last 2 Avengers movies that came out in May, the trailers they came out in the October the year before, both movies. We've got nothing so far, but rumor is it will come out with The Last Jedi and
Smart
premiere
move.
before The Last
Smart
Jedi.
move.
Yes. So between like the first, they're saying early December, between December 1st and December 8th, you may see the Infinity War trailer. So that's very exciting.
Geek boner.
That is, I'm full mast already.
Yes, that's making us Filipinas hard.
That'll get me.
Looking ahead at some of their MCU movies, we got a casting
This is a cool
news
casting.
for Captain Marvel. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Jude Law joining Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
Is this official?
Yep.
They were in talks, and it actually happened. I think I have the wrong link here.
Yeah.
That's the wrong one.
It goes to Star Wars.
Actually, click the next link because it explains who is Marvel.
Yep, he's in.
He's officially in. He is going to be playing.
Oh, Jude Law is playing Cap. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, but what's that guy's name?
Jude Law.
What's the character's name?
Marvel.
What's his first name?
No, that's his name. Marvel. He's a Kree.
That's right. He's Kree alien. The original Captain Marvel, actually.
Right.
But there's what's funny is there's 2 Captain Marvel movies technically coming out in 2019. Shazam.
Yeah.
So Captain Marvel started at Fawcett Comics in the 40s. They held the trademark, and then DC sued them after their trademark lapsed to use Captain Marvel, and then Marvel picked it up and sued DC, making them change their Captain Marvel to Shazam, and they debuted their own Captain Marvel. It's very confusing, but hilarious. So he's the original Kree, and then there's Carol Danvers.
What do you guys think of Jude Law?
I think, look, another great actor to add to the MCU universe. Like, how can he be?
He was recently in that King Arthur movie as the bad guy, and he was great.
Yeah. Jude Law, I mean, I loved him.
Jude Law.
I loved him in everything he does. He's a great actor, and it's another high caliber cast.
I just remember him having a sexual affair with Matt Damon in Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, yeah, there was that.
Or
He
there
was in,
they weren't actually having being sexual. There was some weird shit going on. Though. He killed him on a
He
boat.
was an AI as an android. That's pretty good. Jude Law's
I like
good.
it. I like
good.
Jude Law.
So,
Captain Marvel.
2 good casting. Captain Marvel in 2019. Moving on to some Fox Marvel news. We talked a couple episodes about that Fox was talking to Disney because they wanted to sell all their properties, and they said the talks has ended, but like all of our hearts got excited because X-Men Fantastic Four could end up back at Disney in the MCU. Well, that's not the only people they're talking to, people. Fox also talked to Sony about selling.
Oh shit.
Now, I think the Spider-Man universe, I think you could introduce mutants in Sony's Spider-Man universe, and it won't be as convoluted, as messy as trying to shove them in present-day MCU. What do you guys think? Is this good or bad for the characters?
I mean, Spider-Man, And what else is Fox own?
Fantastic
Mutants?
Four
X-Men.
and X-Men.
X-Men, yep.
You know, Peter has been a friend of Johnny Storm's for a long time.
But what about the ancillary characters? They own, a Galactus and Silver Surfer.
Yep. You got all the bad guys.
So yeah, it could be interesting. You probably do they get the Submariner in that?
They could pull the Submariner, X-Men.
I think Submariner. I don't know. Is he with Universal? I don't remember.
That gives you mutant bad guys too.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Sony having them and then still having the side deal with Marvel.
Sony would have this deal with Marvel, but they would own the rights to Spider-Man, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. Wow, I don't know. But they seem really eager to fucking sell their
Sony's
shit.
got no money right now.
Yeah. Fox is very eager to get rid of this shit. They want
is eager to sell.
They want to double down.
Why don't they just go to Marvel and sell to the right place?
They were talking to them, but they got to check out all the deals. You know.
Gotta hunt for the best.
Telling you, if they're gonna sell their shit to DC,
I bet they'll talk to Warner Brothers. They'll be like, "Hey, you guys want to buy the X-Men?"
Dude, Warner Brothers should have already made an offer.
Yes,
to
they
them.
should swoop in.
If they were smart, they would fuck Marvel up the ass. That's what I would be like. I'd be like, listen, we lost the war here, but we could fucking take these guys down. For a
I
little
don't
bit.
think Warner Brothers would know what to do with those characters either. I don't think it matters.
Just say fuck you to Marvel. You're not getting them.
I think the beauty of having these Marvel characters at these three studios is, like I said earlier, before Aquaman comes out next year, we are getting 7 Marvel character movies between the 3 studios. Warner Brothers is giving you 1 DC movie next year. So that's everyone's going to know all these Marvel characters by the time this Aquaman, and they'll be like, Aqua,
It would be great, though, if Fox went over to DC and just to get Marvel to up their offering.
Yeah. That's a good strategy. Like, we talked to Warner Brothers, they're offering a couple billion. What
they might not give a shit if Sony gets it.
Right, but they'll care.
They already played ball with Sony.
Yeah, they'll care if Warner Brothers is about to buy it.
Then they're going to shit their pants.
Okay, more Fox Marvel Universe news. Deadpool put out a teaser for the sequel called Wet on Wet.
That was actually very funny.
Holy crap.
Great.
So if you guys are too young to remember the Bob Ross, it was a public access TV show of this dude with a white dude with a white afro on Valium painting landscapes.
Valium.
Like, he was just very
I think he
chill.
was just a nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. He's very relaxed. And he would say things like, happy little cloud. We're going to paint happy
He
little
was
cloud.
living in Florida, just
Fucking
chilling.
love it. Great hippie. You watch the show and it relaxes you. So
You think he was on Valium?
I don't know. I just think he was
No.
he was
He
naturally
was probably smoking weed.
Yeah, he was just
and if
baked.
he was, he probably wasn't. Who knows?
he's just one of those dudes that
He loved animals and shit.
Yeah, he's just naturally relaxed. This 2-minute teaser has got
Pretty funny.
Deadpool dressed as Bob Ross painting, and all this crazy shit happens.
They played that before Justice League for
Oh,
me.
they did? I did
Yeah,
not see it
I
in the
was dying.
theater. Holy
Yeah.
shit. First of all, there's like the names of the colors are hilarious. They roll credits in the thing. Like, what a clever fucking marketing video. And it's Deadpool. Of course, they did not disappoint.
I know that Deadpool is kind of a unique character, but they should do, like, movies in general should be more clever with their trailers.
They should
do
have
stuff like
yes,
this.
have more fun with it.
Instead of like the standard, 2 minute 30 seconds where it's just cut after like a music video.
This
It was
is
something fun.
This is rewatchable, and they give you clips of, you see Teenage Negasonic
Yeah, you
Warhead
get like a
flicking the
little, you get a
finger,
little bit at
taste.
the end. Yeah.
Yeah, but you really get a feel for the movie. My favorite line where he's paying goes, holy fuck, Knuckles, I'm high as a kite here. He's like, I'm going to whack off. And he cleans his brush. Feels so good. And I also heard the movie may actually be called the Untitled Deadpool Sequel, which I fucking love that. I really hope that's the title of the movie. That's great.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is I saw they showed a shot of Cable again.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not impressed.
Wait, was it one of the actual stills from the movie?
I don't remember. I just remember looking at it and I thought the same thing when I saw the picture of Cable. I was like, that's a half-assed version of Cable.
I love the end on the Norman Rockwell bastardized.
Give me some shoulder pads.
Yeah, you need big giant
Pouches.
fucking shoulder pads up to his ears where he can't, if he turns his head, he can't see who's next to him.
I want bulging muscles in places that muscles shouldn't be.
Yes, lots of pouches.
I want Layfield muscles.
Yes, he should have so many abs that you're like, that doesn't seem to look right.
Yeah.
And tiny feet.
And tiny feet that are always behind rocks and smoke. And
Yes.
obstructed. I love the bastardization of the Norman Rockwell Thanksgiving painting in it. Good stuff. When is this coming out? I think it's coming out next year. But yeah, what a clever fucking trailer. Love it. Last thing in the Fox universe, James Franco set to star in a Multiple Man movie. This is weird.
I don't know what that is.
Multiple Man, Jamie Madrox. You know,
the X-Men guy?
Yes, they've made this movie already. It's called Multiplicity.
Oh, shit.
With Michael Keaton. You might have seen it. Basically.
And he was in X-Men The Last Stand, yeah.
He was, yeah, there was a little shot. And Jamie Madrox.
This seems like a very odd choice.
That's a lot of Franco's. The late Len Weinstein actually came up with Multiple Man, and he was a bad guy first and then became a good guy. But would this be like another weird comedy? Like a weird dark comedy?
I mean, it might be a funny movie or something, but yeah, it's not like really like the best use of this character.
You don't like James Franco?
It's like listen, I'm really excited for The Disaster Artist that should be coming out wide. It's been in like movie festivals. Do you know what this is, Anthony? It's the movie that he made about Tommy Wiseau making The Room.
Oh, I know.
Have you seen the trailer? It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
He nails it. It's like perfect.
I just know that I feel like Franco on the internet is like a very polarizing guy.
He's
People
smart.
either really like him or like as an actor.
Yeah. I mean, he always plays the same stoner part. Yeah,
I like James Franco.
I like he's very smart. He's smarter than people give him credit for. But as for, do we need a Multiple Man movie? Sure. Why not?
I mean, you could make a movie with this concept and not be Multiple Man.
It's called Multiplicity.
Yeah.
They already made it.
We've established it.
Okay, moving on to Sony Marvel news. Now the Venom movies kind of come out next year. Now reports that a Morbius, the living vampire Spider-Man spinoff in the works.
I'm gonna leave this to you guys.
Wow.
You're the Spider-Man guys.
So Ruggs, what do you think of this?
Everybody loves vampires.
I'm hoping that they can make vampires and werewolves cool again and undo all the damage Twilight has done.
Won't happen.
For anybody who doesn't know, this is the deal with Morbius. He's a Spider-Man character. He first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 101, part of the storyline where Peter had 4 extra arms and he had like 8 arms like a spider. It was really silly. But this is a vampire that is not made by like magic. It's made by science. Like the guy was a scientist and he tested it on himself. And he turned it into Morbius, the living vampire, created by Roy Thomas Gil Kane. His name is Dr. Michael Morbius, scientist who suffered from a rare blood disease, attempted to cure himself to disastrous results. So I think that's interesting, is that it's a vampire. It's not like your normal vampire.
No, he's got an interesting origin story. And he's been like, he's had his own comic.
Yes.
He was involved with Werewolf by Night and Blade.
It's a good horror character.
And Moon Knight and all those guys.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Let's see what happens. I mean, it makes more sense than Multiple Man. I'll tell you that.
If Venom does well, they could really have fun with this.
I mean, has there been a Multiple Man comic even?
No, I don't think that's a good point. Jamie Madrox has never had his own title.
Like, what are they going to draw from here?
Ooh,
I don't know.
I feel it's going to be like kind of like a satire something. So more look, I love Spider-Man stuff, even if Spider-Man's not going to be fucking in the movie. Maybe it's R-rated. Maybe he's in the movie. Moving on, last bit of news, Star Wars news. We got The Last Jedi coming out December 15th. They must really love Rian Johnson because, first of all, they clearly didn't love Lord Miller. They had problems with Gareth Edwards.
Yeah.
They love the Ron Howard. Rian Johnson, who's directing The Last Jedi, is now going to direct a new Skywalker-less trilogy.
Does that mean episodes, what?
Yes.
10, 12,
I think
11,
that means
12?
Episodes 10, 11, 12. He's been hired to write and direct a new trilogy of Star Wars movies, which are separate from the Skywalker saga, which I'm glad they're moving away from the Skywalker saga. To be honest, I'm kind of done with the fucking Luke Skywalker. I just wrap up this whole thing and show me something new. But they love him. And not only that, bigger announcement, we've also learned that Disney will be creating a new Star Wars live-action series, one based on Monsters, Inc., High School Musical TV, and a Marvel series for its streaming service launching 2019.
Geek boner.
And I tell you what, I have a feeling I'm going to end up paying for this fucking Disney service. I think I will. Because
let me know how it is.
Listen, The Punisher may be the last Marvel Netflix show we get to review.
Good.
I don't think we're going to get any more.
Because they suck now.
Because they've kind of fallen off quality-wise, yes. And but if all the new shit is on this streaming service, I may have to fucking pay for this. But it's all exciting news for Star Wars fans. Last Jedi is the longest Star Wars film. It's 2.5 hours long, 150 minutes.
They still have to make one more, don't they?
And then there's Episode 9, who they don't like the Colin Trevorrow, and they're bringing back the J.J. Abrams for the last one. So 2.5 hours is a nice meaty Star Wars movie. It's also
a lot of Star Wars.
It's a lot of Star Wars. It's also tracking for a $200 million opening weekend already. So Star Wars is going to be, again, the one that's just going to blow everything out of the water. Remember when Force Awakens came out and you're like, how much fucking money can this movie make? This is
Force Awakens made 248 opening.
Oh, that's the opening weekend. Jesus, fuck.
Rogue One was a 155. Justice League was a 93.
248, which is like a decent total run for a movie.
Yeah.
It just made it in the first fucking 3 days.
Yeah.
And then finally, if you want to watch more movies, you may have heard of this thing called Movie Pass subscription service. Right? Yeah, well, they're lowering their price from $9.95 to $6.95. Although there is a catch, you have to sign up for a year to get the $6.95 price, which I don't think that's really that bad.
Yeah, I
like
guess
$70 or something.
It all comes down to how many theaters are actually doing
Correct.
that, right?
And I mean, I like this idea. I don't know why I haven't paid for this. I don't know which theaters would accept this. Is probably why I haven't jumped on the bandwagon.
Interesting.
I don't know how many theaters are fully supporting this, but if you want to, you want the Movie Pass, $6.95. Okay, guys, that's it for the news section. We're going to take a quick break and come back with our Game of Thrones first time watch through continuation. We're talking season 6. And I got a bunch of emails from the listeners. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake from the History of Bad Ideas. And we'll get back to your regularly scheduled program here in just a second, geek listeners. But we do a weekly podcast called The History of Bad Ideas.
Yeah, where we'll discuss things like television or movies or music or games or any other thing that falls into our geek-related podcast knowledge.
You can find us on Geek Life Radio, Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, or Radio-Blitz, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, or you can listen to us whenever the hell you want on iTunes and Stitcher.
Check us out. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
It's not just any day. It's Mr. Throwback Thursday.
Hey, this is Jamie.
And this is Bill, and we are the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast.
Do you remember when the wheels were steel and the beats were real?
We do, and we talk about it every Thursday.
You can check out Woo News, One and Done, Record of the Week, and a whole lot more.
That's Mr. Throwback Thursday, keeping it classic on iTunes, Stitcher, and at highvoltageradio.com.
And always remember, new school stale, old school fresh.
Do you like video games?
Do you like comics?
Do you like movies?
I'm Ellie.
I'm Zinger, and we're the host of
Zing This Podcast.
We discuss nerdy topics every week on our podcast. What are some of the best ways to find our podcast, Ellie?
You can search us on SoundCloud,
iTunes,
Google Play,
and Stitcher.
And don't forget, that's ZENG.
This. We hope to see you guys there. Every week, we have new nerdy topics.
Yay!
And
Hey, listener, if you're a first-time listener, or if you're listening to the show for the 196th time, we thank you, man. Thanks for listening. If you want to support the show, visit our fan club, jockandnerd.com/Patreon, and you get more show.
Oh, shit.
For as low as $1 a month, you will get access to an exclusive podcast feed where we have bonus content, exclusive content, whole episodes, instant reactions, post shows. It's more show. If you love the show, you want more, it's very easy. Just visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Sign up today. Jock and Nerd. Okay, we've kind of taken a break from our Game of Thrones first time watch through. Anthony, you want to explain to maybe the new listener
What Game of Thrones
Yes,
is?
what we're doing here and how we got here.
Oh, man. A long time ago now, maybe as in like 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I decided I would start Game of Thrones, and Imran was like, okay, I'll start too. And
Yep.
now we're at the point where I've watched every episode up until, I mean, not any of the new stuff.
All 7 seasons.
But Imran has been slower to catch up, and we've been reviewing seasons of Game of Thrones, and now we're up to season 6.
We are up to
because we've
season
had a little bit of a
6.
delay
Yes.
due to the movies.
Lots of movies and TV shows. So this has been great,
And
though.
Rugboy was watching Game of Thrones long before
The
us.
whole
and
time.
tried to get us to watch, and we
For some reason, we resisted.
Yeah, because no one listens to me.
Nobody
Yeah,
ever
no,
listens
we
to
weren't
Rugboy. So here's the thing. We've had listeners who started watching when we started reviewing, and they've blown through it. So people are enjoying this. I appreciate you guys writing in, and I've been having fun. At this point, it's been like tantric sex a little bit with the last season because I don't want to watch season 7 until I review season 6. And this was a while ago that I watched it, and then I just like bring up the
I like
DVR.
the tantric sex.
Yeah, because I bring up
That's good.
season 7, and then I go to the first episode, and then I just sit there. I don't
And
press.
then you pre-cum, and you're like,
Then I'm like, I don't press it. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't have to watch it yet. I'm totally like Sting with Game of Thrones, but I will be glad to get this down so I can watch the last awesome season. And let me just say, first of all, spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Because this is from 2016. It's the second to most recent season, and wow. What a season. The show just gets better and better. This so far, I think, may have been my favorite season so far for a number of reasons, but let's put this into context. At the end, what I've been doing is I'll tell you the last thing I saw. So at the end of season 5, this is how amazing season 6 is. At the end of season 5, Jon Snow is dead. Arya Stark is blind. Cersei has walked the walk of shame and is at her lowest. And Daenerys is kidnapped by Dothraki and held hostage, right? By the end of season 6, Jon Snow not only is alive, he is the king of the North. Arya can see and is more of a badass. Cersei is on the fucking Iron Throne, and Daenerys, the last thing you see, Daenerys with her fleet, with Tyrion, with the Greyjoys, with Varys, and also 1,000 ships with the Dothraki Screamers on horses, the Unsullied, Ironborn Reavers, the Spears of Dorne, the Army of the Reach, and various other factions, and 3 dragons are on boats heading towards Westeros. Holy shit.
Oh shit.
That's a hell of an ending to
What
season
a
6.
crazy fucking
Talk
season.
about like character arc.
Yes.
Yeah.
And lots of death. We will get into it. This season pretty much eliminated anyone that would have any kind of conflict or wanting the throne, and it's broken down these power factions to just a few people all heading to the same fucking thing. Wow. Now, this is the season, guys, that they didn't have any more books for, right?
Yeah, the books, they started running out of book stuff.
So it's interesting. I noticed things that they've never done before that they did this season. For example, the season starts right where the last season ended. They've never done that. There's always like a time jump, and you got to catch up to what everybody's doing. This one, Jon Snow, starts with Jon Snow still on the snow, stabbed, bleeding out.
So wait, did you think when Jon Snow was killed that Jon Snow was done for?
No, I had
No,
a
you knew you had
feeling.
known?
I was
Okay.
like, I mean, despite the auxiliary spoilers, maybe, but this guy,
I knew
you had a
he'd come
feeling
back.
that he's so important to the
You knew
story.
he would come back when you first saw it,
Rugs,
Ruggs?
how did you know?
Absolutely, because they established that they can resurrect people already.
Yes. And that's what happens.
Yeah. With,
Melisandre.
Beric.
Yeah.
Beric. Well, yeah, and Beric Dondarrion.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever
He
the fuck-
died a bunch of times after.
And I was like, this death is not. You can't kill off this guy because there's no other guy.
Right. He's the prince. He's the prince that was promised.
So-
She calls him afterwards, I guess, not before. But yeah.
Well, yeah, he was also. I mean, I don't know. I knew he was coming back too, just because I've seen ads with him in it. But if you didn't read the books, I was like,
Right.
maybe,
Yeah.
could be dead.
But if you read the books, you wouldn't know either because the book ended with him dead.
Did it really? I don't remember.
I thought either he was going to come back as a White Walker
Yeah.
or Melisandre was going to resurrect.
Yeah. And it is the latter. They all convince her to bring him back to life. The other thing they never did in one episode, they had a cold open to an episode where there was a story before the credits. And it really confused me for a second. I was like, what? Is this the same fucking show? What am I watching? Like, they never did that before. So they're doing more like TV-ish things. You know, a lot of time stopping, and then it comes back right to where they are after going through different scenes. So, I don't know. Interesting. No book. Let's talk about Cersei's for real quick. What happened to her?
Oh, yeah.
Cersei, like we said, at the end got shamed, and there still needed to be a trial. And she wanted it to be trial by combat because she's got the mountain, the zombie mountain. And they're about to send Marjorie Tyrell down the walk of shame. And Olenna Tyrell is like, oh, hell no. That shit ain't happening. She gets Jaime to bring an army to kind of stop them. But it turns out that wasn't necessary because Tommen is a little bitch and turns, and he's totally like the High Sparrow's little bitch now.
Well, the crown and the faith
crown and the faith
are now one.
To bring peace, the crown and the faith are now one. And not only that, he bans trial by combat.
Oh, shit.
In the case of his own mother.
Tommen's such a little bitch.
He's such a little prick, dude. I was like, what are you doing? So now...
He wants that ass.
Yeah. What, the Marjorie Tyrell
You got a little
ass?
taste of that Marjorie Tyrell
He's like,
ass.
I'll do whatever to get her out of prison and have the High Sparrow release her. So... what happens, of course, the trial day comes around. This is fucking so great. Everyone's there, except for Cersei. And nobody notices this, except for Marjorie. And she's looking around, and she's like, hey, wait a minute. Where's fucking Cersei? What? And she's like, and High Sparrow's like, it's fine. We'll get her. She'll show up. And Marjorie's like, no, you don't understand. This is her trial. If she's not here, some shit is going down. And what is that shit? Cersei uses the fucking batch of what is it? Wildfire? Dragonfire? Wildfire. Barrels and barrels of wildfire underneath the Sept of Baelor. And she fucking kills everyone. She kills all the Tyrells, all the Sparrows and the High Sparrow.
All her enemies all at once.
In one fell swoop, she's watching, and this big green explosion. I was like, holy shit, she don't fuck around at all. But this does cause Tommen to then jump out of the window. because he's like, well, I got nothing. I'm out. What the fuck? So
there's never going to be another hot chick.
Yes, but that also results in Cersei, now childless, taking the fucking Iron Throne because there's nobody left. And it's just her. So what a sacrifice to get to the throne. What do you think she wanted more? Do you think she would have sacrificed her kids for the throne, or it just ended up that way?
It's always, at least the way I interpret it, she's always loved her kids more than anything.
More than anything,
so
yes.
I don't think she wanted Tommen to kill himself. I think she just wanted control of Tommen back.
I mean,
then Tommen's was babied so much that he just couldn't handle it.
He was controlled by Marjorie, and then he was controlled by the High Sparrow.
Right.
Also, I love in the very beginning where Jaime shows up and you see Cersei there, and as he gets closer, she's smiling, she's happy, she's excited to see her daughter. And as it gets closer, there's no words. You just see it in her face. Like, she notices that fucking coffin. She's so good, fucking Lena Headey. Lena Headey, right?
Yeah,
her
she's
face,
a fucking
without
bitch.
saying a word, it goes from happy to extreme sad and grief, and she realizes what the situation is. Holy shit, that was crazy. Samwell, he takes Gilly to his parents' house, hoping that the kid and the girl can stay there. Turns out his dad's a dick and a wildling racist. And he does not want anything to do with the wildlings. So in the middle of the night, Sam takes the Valyrian sword and they fucking book. And he ultimately ends up by the end at the Citadel, the library in the Citadel where you become a maester.
Yeah, he's trying to become a maester for Jon.
That was where he was like, you find out how these White Walkers work. You learn, and he's just, all these books are there. It was pretty cool. Cool moment. But it's important that he has a Valyrian sword. It's the only thing that can kill the White Walkers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Bran.
He disappeared for a season.
Bran missing for the entire last season. Yes.
I thought that was other stuff that could kill the White Walkers.
Yes.
Dragonglass.
Fire.
Valyrian steel.
Yes. What's the wildfire also does it?
Fire.
Oh, just fire.
Yeah.
So Valyrian sword, Valyrian steel, and dragonglass. And what
do they all have in common?
They are all from the north.
From Valyria.
Oh, from Valyria. Where's that?
Dragons.
Where's Valyria geographically?
That's
in this world?
on Essos. That's where remember that when they're on the boat and all those what do you call them? those people that have the weird skin.
Oh, the grayscale people.
Grayscale, that they're in Valyria.
Oh, that's
Valyria was a great city that the Targaryens were from.
Oh,
it's something called the Doom happened, where like a bunch of volcanoes went off, and now it's basically like Pompano. Kinda.
Okay.
It's that kind of allegory.
Pompeii.
Sorry.
So, Bran Stark, he's still training with the all talls and shit. Grew up. He's very tall now because we didn't see him for a whole
Bran
season.
goes from boy to teenage
Holy
boy real
shit,
quick.
he's a big.
He goes from the boy to the lead singer of whatever the fucking Verve.
Imagine you're on a show and then you don't return, and you're like, while you're going through puberty, you don't return for like 2 years, and then you're like back on the show and you're like a completely different person. It must have been a weird experience for him. But he's training with the three-eyed raven, but he gets a little cocky. He goes off on his own. He's not supposed to do the thing on his own. And he runs into the fucking White Walker army and the Night King, who touches him. And this gives away their location. The Night King is on the way. The three-eyed raven is like, dude, I'm fucked. You have to be the three-eyed raven now. And the old man does die, and this is where we get the Hodor origin episode. My God. This episode, probably the greatest single episode I've seen in a long time. This is another thing that I kind of had spoiled. I knew something about Hold the Door. That's all I knew.
I knew that too, yeah.
I did not know the specifics, and holy crap, for us to get this deep origin story of Hodor in the episode where he dies, where he's ripped apart by White Walkers, was so just, holy shit. I don't know what to say. It was so deep. It was so good. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was very, very well written.
So what the important thing is, this is another amazing thing in the show about like dragons and medieval style duels. They introduced time travel in the form of Bran's flashbacks. Bran not only can go back in the past, he can affect the fucking past. And then
did you know that he could do that? You knew that he could do that though prior, because remember he at the tower where his aunt is, he screams father, and
he
Ned turns around and doesn't see anything.
Oh yeah, we got a hint of that.
You got a hint that he's fucking with time.
So Hodor's real name is Willis, and also what a great way! Like this character, you are endeared to Hodor. He doesn't do much up until this episode, but you just get that he's like the big, dumb, friendly guy who's protecting the family.
It also gives new meaning to the phrase, what you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis?
Hodor, what does that mean?
Hodor. So Bran goes back into, he wargs into Hodor but in the past, it affects Willis because Mira is telling him to hold the door, and she keeps repeating, hold the door, and Willis keeps repeating, hold the door until it breaks down. It's just, Bran fucked him up. Bran is the reason he's fucked up. What an amazing way to tie it around.
It's either that or there's not the theory, but I saw something online that I kind of like to believe that he knew that his whole life's mission was to hold the door or something.
Oh.
So he was fulfilled in that moment.
That was that was his fate. It was his destiny.
Fate, yeah.
And because it's where the loop kind of closes.
Right.
Is that
so he
moment.
knew that at some point holding the door would be important.
But geez, I'm not, it didn't occur to me. I was like, fucking time travel. They worked in time travel.
He's holding the door and he doesn't leave. Like he's not like, these guys are attacking me. I'm going to run away because I'm getting hurt. He's like, I'm just going to stay.
He holds it until they rip him apart to buy them some time. The ultimate sacrifice. Bran also sees that the children of the forest actually created the White Walkers by plunging dragonglass into men, originally to protect them. And that all bit him in the ass.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Those little fuckers created White Walkers.
A lot of those guys got killed too by the White Walkers. Just that one girl lying there just getting stabbed and eaten. So Mira and Bran are the only ones who make it out into the forest, and the White Walkers are closing in. And at the last minute, we see someone we haven't seen since the first season. It's Benjen Stark.
Oh shit.
To the rescue, and he was dead, and he was brought back to life by the children. And he tells them the White Walkers can't cross the wall because of ancient magic. And that Bran, he goes, Bran, you are the three-eyed raven now. And Bran, this whole time, has downloaded everything. The history of man is now in Bran Stark. And he's the fucking three-eyed raven. It's crazy. Most importantly, the last flashback we see is the birth of Jon Snow. The very end. Now, this didn't occur to me how big this was until I thought about it later. Jon's parents, we thought he was a Stark, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Ned Stark's kid with some other fucking broad somewhere. No, Jon's parents are Ned Stark's sister, Lyanna Stark, and Rhaegar Targaryen.
Oh, shit.
This means he is Daenerys' nephew, but he is a Targaryen Stark, and he's still a bastard, but he has a strong claim to the throne, enough to take down the Lannisters.
See, the thing that confused me is I never thought that Daenerys' brother was that old.
There was different. It wasn't the blonde guy. Was it the blonde guy from the first season who got the?
No, that's not also Rhaegar. Her brother. That's not Rhaegar. That's Viserys. But yeah, she's her brother's like fucking 20 or 25 years old.
She was a mistake baby. That's all.
Oh,
I don't know if she was a mistake baby, but they're old. He's a lot older.
He's a lot older.
But I'll just say there's more on that.
That was revealed at the very end of the season, and I was like, and it didn't even hit me until way later. I was like, holy shit! Wait a minute.
It'll get crazier for you. But right now, he's a Targaryen bastard, which from the Targaryens live on Dragonstone, so he's actually not a. He's not a Snow. He's a Stone.
He's a Stone. His name should be Jon Stone and not Snow.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't wait to see what happens. So, Jon's story, Melisandre brings Jon back to life. And Melisandre, apparently really old and really saggy.
Yeah, that's a weird fucking scene, isn't it?
Wasn't that weird? I was like,
when you see it, when it pans back
boner
and
killing.
and you're like, oh my God, it's this old lady.
It was
she's
reverse.
Geek boner.
Yeah, she takes the necklace off and she's like hundreds of years old. How old is she? She may be like centuries old. We don't know.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Fuck, but he comes back to life, and Jon hangs all the guys that stabbed him, and even the little kid,
Ollie,
fucking hangs Ollie. I was like, well, you gotta make a fucking example. Like, how you not gonna?
That's a great moment because Ollie, I mean, he does stab Jon Snow, but I mean, he feels, he's in the right in his own mind too, because he's like, these fucking wildlings butchered my family, and you let them come across.
Yeah.
I joined to kill these guys.
Where's my vengeance?
Betraying me. Yeah.
Where's my vengeance? Where's my justice? So great, complex relationship because he looked up to Jon but had to stab him and then got hung by him. So then Jon is like, I'm out. My night's watch has ended. And you can argue once a guy dies, your night watches should be over, right?
Yeah, death is the only way out of the Night's Watch.
He should technically his nights, but before he's on his way out, and Sansa shows up, delivered by Podrick and Brienne. And she's trying to get him to fight Ramsay Bolton, who is taking over Winterfell, where she just escaped from, thanks to Theon Greyjoy. But here's a great moment. Sansa and Jon, as much as these two characters we know, we love, we know they're related, we know how they feel about each other, they had never been on screen together until this season.
This season is the first time you see Stark family actually get together.
And I love when the show does this, when they put characters that have never met and they meet for the first
All of a
time.
sudden something new happens.
Yeah. Oh man, what a great dynamic. Like they're trying to get help to go fight the Ramsay Boltons. Nobody wants to help them until they get to Bear Island and the House of Mormont and this fucking 10-year-old badass Lyanna Mormont. She
another great character.
Oh my God, she is so great. She makes all of them feel like shit, and they all rally behind her because she's 10 years old, and she's like, I trust Jon. We have to fight. What's the matter with you bastards?
Yeah, imagine your 10-year-old looking at her iPhone, telling their pledging their bannermen.
Plus,
not gonna happen.
They have Rickon. They have Rickon Stark. They captured him.
You're talking about the
Ramsay. Ramsay Bolton sends a letter to Jon, which leads to the amazing battle of the bastards.
You realize who captured Rickon Stark?
No. What happened?
It was I believe the Umbers.
Oh,
the Umbers who the reason they captured Rickon Stark is the Umbers hate the wildlings.
Oh,
because they're the furthest north.
Okay.
So Jon, by letting the wildlings in, he basically broke the alliance with the Umbers.
So they were like, "Fuck you!" We're taking.
And he's also got. This is how well weaved the show is. All its storylines. I think you might have noticed, but guess who? You know who else was with the Boltons?
I don't know.
The Karstarks.
Oh, because Rob cut his head off.
Because Rob cut his dad's head off.
They still haven't forgiven them for that.
Oh, the hell no. And they're Karstarks, they're actually kind of related to the Starks, but they're against them.
Because they're Karstarks. Weren't there Karstarks in that room when the 10-year-old rallied everyone? Did they turn?
Oh yeah, when later on.
Yeah.
Yes. There are Karstarks and Umbers in the room.
I wonder if Karstarks are good card sharks.
Card sharks. Karstark. It sounds like a European brand of like peanut butter.
Wait, let me jump in here.
Yeah.
How cinematic was the Battle of the
Holy
Bastards?
shit.
though?
Yes.
Like, you saw other battles.
Yes.
Now you're at this new battle, and you're in like 6 seasons deep.
Yes.
Is it just par for the course,
No,
or is it
that was-
better than the other battles that came before it?
It's very good. It's very memorable.
cinematic.
It's cinematic. It's brutal. It's another example of
Let
intimate.
me jump in there. That shot when Jon Snow is standing there by himself with the sword and all the horses are charging at him is like a movie.
Yes.
When they pan away and it's all the everyone charging at him and he's by himself. Oh my god!
First of all, the whole Rickon thing where he lets him go and he's fucking shooting arrows at him and missing on purpose, and John's running at him with the horse like I was gripping the couch, I could not breathe. I was like, "Oh, you fucker!" And right before he gets to Rickon, fucking arrow through the back.
Well, the reason why that scene works so well, I read like a making of why it was amazing, and the reason is because they fuck with your expectations.
Yeah.
So he has 3 arrows that he shoots at him.
Yeah.
Usually it's the third arrow that gets the guy.
Right.
The third arrow misses.
Yep.
So you're as an audience
You're like,
member,
he's
you're
good.
like, he's great.
Yeah.
Then the 4th arrow
Right?
gets him.
Yes.
So that's fucking with your expectations because usually it's
You don't expect it.
Yeah, it's usually in 3s.
Yes. I thought he was in the clear, outstretched hand by John on the horse, and then punk. So then that leads to the whole charge where Davos on one hand, they're like, should we shoot arrows into them? And Davos is like, no, you're gonna hit some of us. On the other side, Ramsay Bolton is just like, draw, loose. Draw. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like,
No, he doesn't give
And
a
I
shit.
believe that was kind of that they used to do that in medieval fights all the time. My only little nitpick is that Jon Snow is in the middle of all these hundreds of arrows coming down. Not one gets him. Not one hits him. Everybody goes down. Horses, people. And I'm like, does he have like good luck powers? Like a good luck bubble?
No, but it shows how crazy war was at that time.
Yes.
Like if you're in the midst of that battle, and this is how they kind of fought war back in the day, it's pretty much luck if you're going to live or not.
Yep.
You got fire basically raining from the sky.
People are the ammunition, you're
Right.
just cannon fodder. And so the whole pincer move that they did with the shields and the giants were fighting with Jon Snow and there was a double there was like a double line and then they were like advance and they would squeeze them. And I was like, they're fucked. There's no way. The giants can't even put up. That one giant dies because he gets stabbed so many times. It's so sad. And then last minute, Sansa got away and got Littlefinger and the Knights of the Vale show up at the very last minute and pretty much just run right over them in a circle, which is hilarious because they just take him down. Like man, Jon was done. You could see it on his face. They were desperate and they were fucking pincing in on him. Unbelievable. And
that scene where he's like crawling out of the bodies and he's like reaching for the sky and it's an overhead shot.
Yes.
It's supposed to be an allegory to when Daenerys is in the middle of freeing all those people and they're like, Misa, and she's reaching up and they're all like trying to grab her.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to mimic that scene. So instead it's like desperation. The other one's hopeful.
He crawls himself out of all those fucking bodies. And Sansa gets the ultimate revenge as she feeds Ramsay to his own hounds.
Great.
That was fantastic. She walked away smiling. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's right. I love it.
You got to pause it here, man.
Okay.
You can't just jump into something else.
Yes.
Ramsay Bolton, now that you know he's dead.
Yes.
How great of a villain is he of all time?
Amazing villain. I'm glad.
Of all time. I'm saying the best villains in cinema or anything.
I would say he's up there. A guy that made me turn away from the screen because it made me so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, he was definitely like stomach turning. I wanted to see him die. What's his name? Joffrey was a good one because I couldn't wait for him to fucking get it.
Right.
But this guy, he was like on another level of just being a fucking piece of shit.
Like I think he'll live up there with like Heath Ledger's and like the guy in
Hannibal
Die Hard,
Lecter, maybe?
or Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Well, I don't know about that because he's in the Inhumans and
well, that does kind of undoes.
just ruined his career.
It undoes all of the good.
God
faith.
damn it!
Because
Inhumans.
Because Ramsay Bolton does not work as Maximus on Inhumans. I'll tell you what. But just the writing on this character and someone you love to hate.
Apparently, he's even more fucked up in the books.
Wow. Wow.
He has his dogs rape women and stuff.
Well, I don't know. Who's the big bad now? Maybe I'll answer this question as we get through the rest of this. Who is the Ramsay now? Because they've always kind of had this one character.
Didn't you talk about Cersei just blowing up half the kingdom?
Yeah,
Cersei's still always in the
Cersei
mix.
definitely up there in terms of those actions. Okay, yeah, but shit, fucking Ramsay, dude. Like a well-deserved death done by the person that should have done it. And just a fucking incredible.
Did you want
character.
her to kill him, or did you want Theon to kill him?
Well, I originally I would have liked if Theon killed him, but she also deserves to kill him. And she's a little bit of a bigger character. So, speaking of Theon, he heads back to the Ironborn Islands to find out that Euron has killed his father, his uncle Euron Greyjoy. Yara wants to step up to be in charge, and everyone is good with it for the most part until fucking Uncle Euron shows up and takes the crown. He becomes king by just not dying. I thought it was interesting how they baptized him. Like they hold him.
Yeah, it's real fucked up.
They hold him in the water and then until he like passes out and then pull him out. And hey, if you don't die, you get to be king. Bonus.
Hey, it's what is dead may never die.
That's right. He is the undead. And he finally comes back to life, chokes out the water, and they crown him. Meantime, Theon and Yara steal all of their fleet and head to Meereen to hook up with Daenerys and join her thing. And Euron's like, let's go kill them all now. He's pissed. So he is in chase. But Yara and Greyjoy are with Daenerys and sailing across the sea. Speaking of Daenerys, kidnapped by the Dothraki, they find out that she was a widow and they're like, you should have been with us this whole time. We're going to have to hold a trial. What does she do? She invites all the Khals to one room, and she doesn't even need dragons for this one. It's amazing. She goes, you guys are not fit to lead the Dothraki. I am. And they start laughing at her. At which point she knocks over all the fire pyres, burns the whole fucking tent full of Khals down, comes out naked to all the Dothraki now kneeling to her and calling her God.
Oh shit.
Wow. What a great fucking turn there.
Yeah, she gets naked again. How can you not like that?
That's a nice treat.
That's a nice treat, and I'm glad she came out naked because every time she burns, I was like, she better walk out naked because those clothes, and she does. And I was like, if I was there, I would be like, yes, you are my goddess also. I will follow you. You just killed all the Khals. Whatever you want. I'm here. Unbelievable. And then she's
the unburnt.
She is the unburnt. That was fucking great. And then she makes it back in time to Meereen just as the masters are attacking because Tyrion and Varys, they tried to give him a deal with the slave masters. We're like, we'll give you 7 years to end your slave trade. Here's some women. Here's some booze. Everything cool? Apparently not, because they were funding the Sons of the Harpy and causing all this chaos. And then they start attacking Meereen from their boats, and the dragons promptly burn all the boats and nip that shit in a bud, which was pretty badass.
Yeah, that was a great episode because I was on Battle of Bastards, so you had the dragons.
That was the
and
same
ships.
episode. Yeah,
so you had like kind of an aerial sea battle real quick, and then an actual land cinematic battle.
CGI getting better on the dragons, absolutely. Jorah Mormont.
Dragons are looking real good.
Yeah, the dragons look good. I like when she rides the dragons. Jorah Mormont, his grayscale has gotten pretty bad. He has not been applying the steroid cream that he should be on his grayscale because it's spreading, and
it's dragon herpes.
His dragon herpes are getting bad, and he leaves. You know, he doesn't want her to see him die, but she's like, no, you go and you find a cure. Because just to make it feel better for her,
she's the queen, and that is his mission.
That's her request. She also leaves Dahario Naharis behind with the what's his army called?
The what is they called? The Second Sons.
The Second Sons. She kind of breaks up with him, and she's like, "I need you to watch Meereen because this shit could probably blow up again." And Varys also brokered a deal between Ilaria and Olenna Tyrell, and Tyrion becomes Hand of the Queen. Daenerys makes him Hand of the Queen, which I thought was really nice. They have a nice moment there.
Yeah, that was nice that he's back to being a hand.
Yeah. Let's talk about, there's one thing that was weird that took me out of the show a little bit, and it was that episode where we learned the Hound is alive. I was very happy. I knew it. I knew he wasn't dead. I knew no body, no death. But it was the episode that had that cold open, and what took me out is Ian McShane. Ian McShane, if you don't know, he's on Deadwood. He was on American Gods. Amazing actor. Very recognizable, though. So this whole time, like, I don't know any of these actors. They're just the characters. And Ian McShane, even though he was only in one episode and he gets killed, I was like, that's Ian McShane. And it kind of like, it was weird. Does this make any sense? Like, it kind of took me out because for the first time I saw the actor and not the character.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I
didn't know who he was. So
okay. And I understand there is another pop culture cameo in season 7 that's probably going to also take me out of the show. It's already been kind of spoiled. I won't talk about it right now. But I love the McShane. And that Hound episode was great. He's back in, man. He was like trying to live.
Back.
He was trying to live a peaceful life, and then they just kill everyone. And he's like, "God damn it!" And he picks up the axe. He's like, "I'm gonna have to go fucking murder these motherfuckers."
I have to say I was surprised that the Hound came back. I thought he died.
No, I had a feeling. I had a feeling. And I'm glad because I still want to see him in the mountain fucking throw down. But then he runs into the Sir Barrick of whatever those. Who are those guys?
Those are the
no banner men.
Brotherhood without banners.
Yes, they don't have banners, and they end up hanging all the guys anyways.
Yeah, those were Rogue Brotherhood banners.
The Rogue Brotherhood, and he joins them. Finally, Arya, right? Arya, her story is so fucking great. She starts out blind and homeless on the street, and this fucking blonde girl is just picking on her and hitting her with sticks every day. This girl's called the Waif, and eventually she trains Arya to fight blind, and very quickly Arya does get her vision back in the beginning of the season, but she has a job. She has got a hit. She's got to kill this actor lady. Arya, she kind of makes friends with the actor lady and doesn't fucking do it, fucking up huge. At which point the Waif jumps out, and like there was a chase scene that reminded me of Terminator a little bit. You guys remember this chase scene where it's like there's like parkour, like Game of Thrones parkour on the stairs.
Reminded you of Terminator?
Yeah, like just the way that the Waif was booking, like single-minded. She's like running at her like the fucking Terminator, and Arya's just leaping, and she gets stabbed. Wait, she fucking stabs her in the gut. Arya gets stabbed. That was very surprising. What was a little disappointing is how they ended the scene. She finally gets backed into a room with a candle, and she has needle. And right as the Waif approaches her, Arya swipes and cuts the candle. It goes black. And then it cuts to a scene in the House of Many Faces, and the fucking girl's face is on the wall.
Oh, shit.
So weird to believe that this stabbed, hurt Arya fucking killed this girl and cut her face off and brought it back to what's the guy's name? The faceless man name?
Faceless man, yeah. Jaqen Hagar.
Jaqen Hagar, who tells her, okay, you've done it. You are the faceless man. And she's like, nah, bro, I'm Arya Stark, bitch. And drops the mic and walks out.
I have to admit, that was a bit disappointing.
Right?
That we didn't get to see them fight.
Well, I was waiting for the showdown. And how did she, well, the girl patched her up, the actor lady, but then she dies anyways. But then Arya does the most delicious revenge you could ever imagine. She's like, I'm going back to Westeros. I'm going back to Winterfell. She shows up at the Freys. And Walder Frey is there, and everybody's gone. He's like, where's everybody? Where are my sons at? And there's one girl who's a servant. He's like, bring me my food, and it's a pie. Turns out this is Arya Stark in disguise. She has killed the Frey sons and cooked them in the pie and fed it to Walder Frey.
Oh, shit.
Right before killing him with that awesome line, she goes, I'm Arya Stark. And I want my smiling face to be the last thing you see as you die, and fucking kills Walder Frey. Wow, she's a fucking badass assassin.
I got to say, the prior to that, I rewatched a ton of Walder Frey stuff because he is fucking hilarious.
Despicable, yes.
He's a despicable man.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
The part where he's like, "You're not one of my girls," and he slaps her on the ass, and then he's like, "Too pretty," and then
yes.
and he like sticks his tongue out. He's like, "Ah!" Like I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy is amazing." I love Walder. I actually really enjoy Walder Frey's character.
Walder Frey is just horrendous.
I love the Freys because they're just so inept.
Yeah, they're kind of like inbred fucking Hicks of the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they're just like the Hicks of Game of Thrones.
Well,
yeah.
he keeps fucking his daughters. Does he do that too?
No, he doesn't fuck his daughters.
That was the other
He just
guy.
has a shit ton of wives.
Yeah, he's just got a lot of young girls.
He's got a lot of daughters.
Yeah.
They're all gross.
Yeah, they're all gross looking. Too.
And he can't get them married to anyone because they just.
No, you have to rewatch the scene where he is reciting their names.
Yes.
And he's like, there's Walda and Folda, and he's like, you're twins. You could have had one or both or either. What do I care? And he either forgets one of their names. Oh my God, you have to rewatch the best of Walder Frey.
Walder Frey is a piece of work. So here's everyone who died in this episode. Key deaths in the season. Season 6 key deaths. Hodor, Ramsay and Roose Bolton, Tommen, Grandmaster Pycelle. Remember he got stabbed by the kids?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone in the Grape Sept for Cersei and Loras' trial, which means the High Sparrow, Queen Marjorie, Sir Loras, Mace Tyrell, Lancel Lannister goes down, Kevin Lannister. Kevin Lannister, isn't he from Home Alone?
Kevin McAllister.
Alistair Thorne and the mutineers of Castle Black, Walder Frey and his two sons, Rickon Stark. The Blackfish dies because Jaime and Bronn went to go back, and they did get back River Run with the one death. Trystane and Doran Martell. The girl kills Doran Martell, his queen or whatever.
Arya Sand. Yeah.
Arya Sand. Balon Greyjoy killed by Euron. The Waif, the Three-Eyed Raven, actually dies. A bunch of rapey calls. Osha gets her throat slit by Ramsay. That was a sad one. I liked Osha. Wu One, who was the giant. One, who's the giant. And Shaggy Dog and Summer, 2 less direwolves. How many direwolves are left? So only 3?
Is John still alive?
I think John and Sansa's. I don't know.
No, Sansa's I think is dead.
Is Bran's
Brands I think dies in the when the White Walkers.
There may be only one dire wolf left.
Yeah,
I think there's only 1 or 2.
It's the White Wolf.
The White Wolf, yeah.
I think it's only 1.
I think there's only 1 left. That's sad. The dire wolves are great. So
I like the dire wolves.
That's season 6, man. Fucking unbelievable. I really enjoyed this season. It had a lot of great just standalone episodes, and the pacing. It was a little different because they didn't have the book, but it pays off. I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect all these deaths. So now what happens? You got Cersei on the throne. You got Daenerys heading for the throne. You got Jon Snow also wants the throne. You got Euron.
No, he doesn't want the throne.
Oh no, he doesn't want the throne.
He's the king of the North.
That's right. He doesn't know that he actually.
They're declaring their independence.
Okay,
again.
so they just want to stay up there, but he doesn't know that he actually is Targaryen Stark. And then you got Euron Greyjoy, who thinks he should be on the throne. That guy seems to be the wild card.
Yeah, he's a wild. Yeah, you got all the players now lined up.
And that's who's left.
A season 7.
That's who's left.
And you got to think about who each has. So the Jon Snow has the North.
Yeah.
Has all those plus the wildlings.
Yes.
You got Daenerys, who has
she's got everyone
Unsullied, the Dothraki, the dragons, the Tyrells, the Martells, and the Greyjoy rebels.
Yeah.
And you got Cersei, who's got the Lannisters, and
who else
that's
did it? They've burned bridges with everyone, haven't they?
Yeah, you got Euron Greyjoy with the Greyjoys, and then you still got the Whites, the White Walkers.
And this whole time, that's the main threat: is these White Walkers are still coming. Winter is here. Is winter here now?
Winter's not here yet.
Oh, it's still almost here. It's still coming. The irony.
It's just about to come.
I loved Jaime Lannister returning, seeing this madness in King's Landing, and the irony that he killed the Mad King precisely because he was going to do the same thing. Blow up the wildfire underneath, kill everyone, and he comes back, and now his sister is fucking crazy like this.
He's insane.
I can't wait to see.
Think about Cersei's. All she lived for was for her children, and now they're gone.
She's got nothing left to lose, man.
She's crazy.
Now she just wants revenge.
Yeah.
I saw this other article I thought was interesting about Cersei and Bronn, the actors. They've never been in a scene together because they used to date.
Yeah,
and it's in their contract that they do not want to be in a scene together.
There is a scene in season 7 where they should be together that is written so that they aren't together.
So is it
funny.
one just leaves and then she just enters the opposite side?
You'll see.
That's so ridiculous. You can't work out your shit. You're on the best TV show ever made, and you can't fucking just make this easy for us a little bit. The writers got to be like, you fucking bastards.
As someone that's watched every season now. I'm curious what do you think is going to happen in season 7?
Well, it's coming to an end point. Everyone's kind of coming towards the middle. The threat of the White Walkers is still huge. They're coming. They can't cross the wall, though. So what does that mean? Is it really a threat? Do they have to get rid of that magic on the wall? And I want Jon and Daenerys to meet.
You want them to meet?
Yes, because now you have Targaryen, Stark, Targaryen. That is a power couple. Should be a couple.
Didn't you just establish that that's his aunt?
It's a good point. It's his cousin. No, they're cousins. They're cousins. They're first cousins. Whatever. I mean, strategically, they should be a couple. I don't know. I imagine Cersei's fleet is going to land on the east. Whether they meet any resistance is.
What do you mean? She is his aunt.
She's his cousin.
His aunt. No, that's his aunt. If Rhaegar
is her older brother,
his father, yeah, that means she's his aunt.
Oh, it's her nephew. My bad.
Her nephew.
It's her nephew. That's weird. Yeah.
You want them to hook up?
Strategically and for peace. That romantically.
You want them not romantic.
Although we've seen brother sister fucking, that really shouldn't be any different. I mean,
so basically, it's kind of funny that the reason why everybody hates the Lannisters is because the brother and sister fuck.
Right.
So it's fine if then people are going to be cheering for Daenerys and Jon Snow to fuck, who are also related.
That first cousin should be absolutely okay.
It makes you a hypocrite.
It's interesting where this show is. I'm just observing what you're saying. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that this show has now made you, like Rugboy pointed out, you hated the Lannisters, but now you're rooting for a different level of incest.
Yeah.
A more acceptable.
Yeah. Look, you've already broken down the one
because
taboo.
they don't know that they're related.
They don't know.
I guess that counts for something.
It's like a Luke and Leia thing in Star Wars. You can't blame them. They didn't know. So Bran is the only one who knows this. At some point, he's got to tell them.
Yeah, he could know it. Yeah.
I mean, you'll see how it plays out. Okay, because he saw the birth. Basically, he saw the birth. He was there for the birth.
He saw the birth, but I know I pointed this out to you off the air, but you don't hear what he says to her.
Oh, he whispers.
What Lyanna says to Ned.
I forgot about that.
That'll be important.
Plus, I don't believe the dad was in the room, right? It was just...
No, Rhaegar wasn't there.
So...
Rhaegar was dead.
Oh, okay. Right. So, okay.
Because, what's his name? Robert Baratheon killed him with his Warhammer.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah.
Warhammer.
So... Rhaegar had that guy with the swords, like the best swordsman in all of Westeros, defending that.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing that you have Anthony just fully immersed.
Yeah, he's always
in this fantasy world, which he would never be interested in.
But Anthony is interested. I know you're a big history buff. And this is exactly what we like about history.
But I really like it.
But this is what we like about history is he's just fan fiction history.
Would you say that's an amazing thing in and of itself, that Anthony is a guy who does not like this type of shit, but now he's cock deep in it.
Oh, real deep. So deep that I have a sweater on the way for an ugly sweater party that says "Let It Snow" with Jon Snow's fucking face on it.
Wow, we've been converted. I can't wait to
people. That's funny you point that out. People are like, You are balls deep in Game of Thrones, and it took you like 2 months for that to happen.
I can't picture, imagine Anthony at a club and he's hitting on a girl, and then he just breaks out a deep Game of Thrones analysis, but then just the record stops.
There's really nothing like this show.
No, there's nothing.
And if there was, somebody tell me that there's something like this that's as just all encompassing as this show.
The only thing I can think of, which is why I might really like it besides history, is comics, because comics has that history.
Yep.
Where you can look back and be like, wow, that happened to this character in this moment. Although comics doesn't kill people like this does.
Yeah. Nobody dies in comics.
No.
Everyone dies in Game of Thrones. And I honestly thought that the fact that there was no more books was going to hurt the show. I don't think it did. I don't know if people don't like the 6th season because of that.
If you were George R.R. Martin, to write a book the way he writes it with the amount of detail that he writes it, it would take him forever. But for him to just sit there and tell the people, okay, this is what happened.
Yep.
And then they figure it out.
Yeah.
That takes no time at all.
Well, one of the after show, like behind the scenes episodes, they were talking about the producer was sitting in a hotel room with George, and George was just telling him the story of the Hodor episode, and just George telling him, they were floored. They were like, "Oh my God, that's amazing!" So he's given them all the notes. This is what he does want, and then they just they play with the timing, the pacing of it, and the timeline of it a little bit.
I haven't read the books, but they've deviated a lot though.
Okay,
from the books at this point.
Yeah, we've talked about how like they didn't burn Shireen in the books. That's Davos finds out this season. That was pretty awesome. So Melisandre is now, they kicked her to the curb because he told Jon he burned the kid alive.
She burned a little kid.
She burned a little kid alive, and so she's headed south on a horse. Who knows? So she's another wild card. Who knows what fucking trouble she gets into? She's going to be pissed. She wants power. She wants to be by the throne, whoever has the throne. But she knows Jon is the prince that was promised.
Yeah, she thinks that Jon is. You have to remember, though, she thought Stannis was.
Yes, and
too.
I love that. Like, they called her out. They're like, you thought first you thought Renly was, then you thought Stannis was. Now you think he is. What's up with you? And
you don't know shit.
She don't know shit. She was like, I was
She's
wrong.
like Jon Snow. She don't know shit.
She's like, Jon
she knows nothing.
Snow, you know nothing. I can't wait. We'll get to, I'll do season 7 and we'll review that in a week or two. I can't wait to finish. Finish
season 7 is, in my opinion, just complete fan service, and I fucking loved it. So
did some people not like it because it was fan servicey?
There was some criticism. I mean, you'll see for yourself.
Yeah.
There was some criticism. It's only 7 episodes, so
but they're longer episodes, right?
Some of them are longer.
Okay.
The things that would have taken longer to happen, what happened within a whole episode. Like the travel is a lot quicker.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean,
things happen very quickly in this.
That's definitely a difference in pacing from the book.
Because they're going to close it out with one more season.
Yeah, so I mean,
they're building towards the end, so
which is great.
They're on that train going downhill.
Yeah,
now.
and you start to get that because just to finally see Daenerys from where we saw her first season, to see her
crazy, right?
on a boat with a fleet, with an army, with all these people looking badass and in charge, I was like, wow, she fucking did it.
The first time you meet her, her brother's ripping her clothes off and selling her.
And smacking her around. She's just a common slave girl.
She's just some innocent chick that doesn't know.
So I got to finish Punisher first, and then I will finish Game of Thrones season 7, and then we will have over a year to just fucking
now,
hold
what do you
our
think
dick.
when Game of Thrones is over? Is there going to be a real successor to this? There's a Watchmen show that's supposed to be coming out for HBO.
There's also they're planning
Westworld.
like 5 Game of Thrones prequels. So they might need another Game of Thrones to.
I'll
top
leave that
their
to you
Game of
guys. You guys have watched Westworld. Isn't that the next thing?
There's only been one season. I like it. It is kind of like Game of Thrones.
It's a different thing altogether.
But not fantasy, more sci-fi. You know.
See, Westworld seems like they had no idea like how long the show was going to go on for.
Yes.
So they just kind of closed like a little loop and then opened up like a door to more shit.
Yeah.
So basically, they closed the main story off to a degree and solved whatever needed to be solved to a certain degree. And now there's more questions that need to be answered, and there's actually more possibilities. Game of Thrones was a bunch of books that was already written.
That's the thing that this has that none of these other
that's
things
a whole
have.
different idea.
Yes,
so like the worst thing that could happen to Game of Thrones is that nobody watched it and then they just never got to the story.
Right.
And then they would do that because they've done that before. Like they had a Camelot show.
Oh yeah.
It was like a King Arthur show that went up at the same time as Game of Thrones, and they just stopped it.
That one
because
that one didn't
they didn't
fly.
wrap shit up. They just it's not on anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, for the fact that Game of Thrones has this solid underlying story structure and relationships and mythology that's already been worked out, like I don't know what else is out there that you can
closest
adapt.
comparison, although it's gone to complete shit, would be Walking Dead.
But Ruggs, I think you said it before. Also, I think Dune would be a thing like this.
Dune could be a great
long-ass
show.
book.
They're going to do a Watchmen show, I think.
Walking Dead is, you're right, also, Anthony. Yeah, Watchmen show, but what do you do? Like, you have the book, the 12 issues. Do you just do that again? Is it before? Is it afterwards? Like,
I don't know what they would do. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's a necessary thing to even make it.
Yeah, how do you stretch out that book into seasons of television?
Because this is the thing. Like, Dune is this book that's very hard to read.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people read this
Similar
book.
to Game of Thrones, from what I hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
They tried to make a movie out of it and they failed.
Right.
I mean, they made a movie, but it was they've never really successfully done it to the degree. Like There was a miniseries that was good, but it was so low budget. They've never actually done service to Dune.
There was that David Lynch movie too, right?
Yeah, that was what I'm saying. That they tried it with Sting and David Lynch, and it was more of a David Lynch thing than Dune. Like, he took over that project so much and made it his own that it wasn't Dune anymore.
HBO's going to need something when this ends. That's for sure. All right, let's close out the show. I got a bunch of emails from our awesome listeners to share. This first one comes from Wes Cranford, the Yank from Down Under. He writes, so I obviously listened to your podcast today. I think we are all on the same page about Justice League. Thing is, it's been fucked from the start, so what I take away from it is that they have realized the tone of these movies. Finally, Superman is what he's supposed to be. Batman is dark but sardonic wit, just like the cartoons. It's totally unfair to compare to Avengers, because that movie was new and a trendsetter. Even later Avengers movies didn't do what the first one did, and yes, they're all the same. So are the comics, really. I mean, not much you could do with the standard comic medium. I would like to see the Justice League story Tower of Babel. That would rock. I would also like any storyline with alternate worlds. My favorite is Crisis on Two Earths or Star Trek, where Kirk is evil. Love that shit. There's a lot they can do once they get the characters right. Tell Ruggs, had I been anywhere but work, I would have had a drink with him. Oh, and I went to see Socceroos, lamest name ever, beat some team that knocked out USA in the World Cup. Have Anthony look up. Here, he sends a link to a YouTube video to see what I do for my Jock World watch. What the girls have to get to just to start race. Fucking nuts. Yank from Down Under and a day ahead.
I did watch his video and it looks cool.
Dude, it's pretty crazy. It's the 2012 World Championship of Outrigger Canoe Paddling. 6-person canoe. But in the beginning, like the girl race, they can't even make it to the start line. They have to get past these giant waves in Hawaii.
I was watching that. I'm like, yeah, there's no chance I would be able to last doing that.
Holy shit, they couldn't even get out to the start line. And then they fly once they get going. It's like Crew and the row machine, only just on one side.
Yeah, it's with a canoe though, not like a huge boat. So
yeah, pretty interesting. That's what I think. Wes also posted photos of our Facebook group of him canoeing by the Sydney Opera House in Australia. There were really beautiful pictures. Wes, thanks for writing in. I got a great email from Jimmy Graben. He writes, hello, Imran, Anthony, and Ruggs. As usual, I have been listening every week and enjoyed your reviews of both Thor Ragnarok and Justice League. Just wanted to email you to say thank you. I have officially been listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast for a year now. I remember going on iTunes and looking for a show and seeing your guys' podcast pop up. You had a Doctor Strange review, and I enjoyed it right away. Imran's pure joy coming through my speakers, along with Anthony's humor mixed in with some Rugboy zadiness, and I was immediately hooked. Since I started listening to your podcast, I've had probably one of the craziest years of my life. Went back to school to get a master's, switched careers after 7 years, and experienced the birth of my first kid. All of those things were amazing, but created some chaos in my life. Each week, I had the Jock and Nerd podcast to lean on if I needed to escape the hectic things going on. It was something consistent to look forward to each week and still is. Thank you guys for that. I know you guys call your show bullshit sometimes and think it's somewhat of a circle jerk, which, let's be honest, it kind of is. But you are impacting people. I mean, you have a guy listening in Australia, for Christ's sake. Shout out to Wes Cranford. You have brought together all sorts of different people from different walks of life based on your show and a shared love for comics, superheroes, and all that good stuff. So that is why I close each email with thank you, because I truly appreciate the time and work you put into this show every week. Sorry for the long email, but since I reached such a huge milestone, just wanted to share. Take care, guys. Jimmy the Geek, proud Patreon supporter, member of Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. Wow.
I mean, nothing like reading an email where we're just masturbating. It's a complete circle jerk.
That's the nicest thing, though.
No, it's very nice.
I mean, we do,
it was so nice that I posted it on my personal social media and said something nice about
this.
it.
Yeah. You write something like this and it keeps us going. Like, this is why we do the show. This is one of the big reasons to do the show.
Well, it's one of those things where it makes you think, all right?
Yeah.
Like, we would love to do more episodes and do more shows.
Absolutely.
And actually just do this for a living. Like,
Yes.
Anthony, do you want to go to work every day or just do this?
No,
it's
I'd
easier.
rather talk.
I'd rather do this for a living. It'd be fantastic.
But we can do that if we get more people to listen. So it's you want more? We'll do that. We'll totally do that.
And everyone increase your Patreon pledge. He has, and then there's a follow up, just a quick follow up email on Justice League from Jimmy. You guys nailed it on the head when you mentioned Justice League feeling like Joss Whedon's greatest hits. It felt like the final act was straight from Age of Ultron. The whole thing felt very Sokovia, if you will, especially with the family trying to escape that had Whedon written all over it. I left that movie feeling like I felt after viewing The Defenders. That's it. I know you guys mentioned that about Defenders, and even though this is a movie on a much bigger scale, I have to be honest and say I had a similar feeling. A ton of build-up for not much of a payoff. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Punisher. I'm about 4 episodes in now. Moving kind of slow, a few good scenes here and there, but I'll be honest, it's dragging for me. We will see how it progresses. Thanks again for reading my emails. Peace, Jimmy the Geek.
Nice.
Punisher is slow, and some people may find it boring because of it being slow, so...
You're slow.
You're slow. Last one, Ron Hans, another listener and Patreon supporter. Hey, guys, I had to delay hearing your review and writing in because I don't see DC movies opening weekend while I wait to hear if it's a train wreck or if it's watchable. So I went and saw it yesterday and found it was okay. I like Wonder Woman and Dirtbag Aquaman. I think I
coined Dirtbag Aquaman.
Yes, he's Dirtbag. I think we started that. Hashtag Dirtbag Aquaman. I like the stuff of Superman beating the shit out of the Justice League. Actually, I like most of the stuff with Superman. Him watching Flash run past him was great. The list of things I didn't like is going to be far too long, but the highlights are Flash's running and really Flash in general. The fact that only parts of this movie you didn't see in a trailer were how they beat Steppenwolf and how Superman is brought back. Everything else, including 90% of the jokes, were all in the trailers. Also, have you noticed in 2 movies now, Superman has never said one word directly to Wonder Woman? Not one. It's just kind of weird.
Oh, shit.
That's a great point. I didn't realize that. He's not had 1 ounce of dialogue with Wonder Woman.
He doesn't think shit of her.
No, he does not.
That is not his equal.
No, he's like, fuck
She is
that
a woman.
guy. This will be another good movie to go to sleep to when it comes out in iTunes, so I guess I have that to look forward to. As for The Punisher, I know you guys are still watching this, so I will keep it spoiler-free. I really like the series. I thought the little backstory that they gave you in Daredevil Season 2 and really play it up in the season was great. As I said on the Facebook page, there are aspects of the series that shows you what Disney is going to let Marvel do. There were a couple of scenes in later episodes of the series that are so brutal that I had to turn away a bit. I will stop there for now, but I have this third in the Marvel Netflix stuff behind Daredevil and Jessica Jones, ahead of Defenders, Luke, Cage, and Iron Fist. Looking forward to your thoughts. Happy Thanksgiving, Ron Hans. Ron, thanks for writing in. And I will say, dude, this show, it's fucking brutal. It's visceral and it's gross. There are times where I can't look at it because it's fucking gross. I get lightheaded I get lightheaded in that scene in what about Mary? What's that movie where he gets his fucking nuts caught in his pants? Ben Stiller?
Yeah, there's something about Mary.
Something about Mary. Every time I watch the scene where he gets his nuts, like I almost faint. Like that, because you think about that pain.
Oh my God.
And I start to get lightheaded.
You really are a pussy.
No, but I love the violence in Punisher, dude. It's fucking, it's brutal.
He validated it.
It's brutal. I'm a pussy. I'll take it, and I'll live with it. Ruggs, where can the people find you online?
You can find me at Really Rugboy on Twitter. Come find me, you fucks.
Find him, you fucks. Thanks.
I'm waiting.
Thanks for listening to the show, guys. Be sure, subscribe. Look, if you got someone in Spotify, tell them they can listen to us in Spotify. Leave us a rating and review in Apple Podcast app. And most importantly, tell a friend. Spread the word.
Tell 10 of them.
Tell 10. Next 10 people. Give them this.
Talking nerd.
Listen, word of mouth advertising is the only way for this show to grow. It's like a book. You know when you read a really good book or a magazine, you're like, you got to read this book. This book fucking rocks. There's no marketing for books.
No one's reading books.
There's no. I'm just saying.
I'll throw this out there.
Yeah.
If you know somebody who's into advertising and knows how to advertise shit, tell them to come help us out.
Send them this way. We could use some marketing help.
I suck.
That was supposed to be Anthony's job. He failed. You're the marketing guy. Listen, we need you, the listener, to help us grow the show. Join the fan club. Subscribe. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks for listening. You guys are awesome. This is the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time, yo.
Bro, do you even podcast?
My spider shits are tingling.
Get your hand off my penis!
Whoa.
Talking nerd.
Get your hand off my penis.